We begin on the college hardwood where the dancing is underway. My C list for Monday is already busted. St. John's is out. The Red Storm star guard Samori Pons accomplished part of the mission in getting the program back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2015. But despite his many efforts, St. John's came up short. It fell in a deep hole early against Arizona State, threatened to get back in the game, but never really did, ultimately falling short 74-65 in the first four loss at Dayton this week. Pons had 25 points on 8 for 20 shooting and 4 assists for the Storm. And what was almost certainly his final collegiate game, he and L.J. Figueroa, 19 points, were the point men, helping close within 7 twice in the final 3:41 before St. John's bowed out. St. John's ends its season 21-13, and though it halted the NCAA tournament drought, it still hasn't won a game in the tournament since 2000. After the big win against Villanova, it crashed, dropping 6 of its final 8 games. I really thought the passing of Chris Mullen's older brother, coupled with sneaking into the tournament, would give St. John's new life. Mullen and the Red Storm snagged the final at-large spot in the field of 68, giving the fourth-year coach his first trip to the tournament since returning to his alma mater in 2015. That milestone comes on the heels of a low point in his life. As I mentioned, Rod Mullen, Chris's older brother and role model, died after a battle with cancer less than 2 weeks ago. On to more positive news from March Madness, how about the Fordham women's basketball team? They are heading to Syracuse. Game time is 1 p.m. Saturday, and you can listen to all the action on WFUV 90.7 FM. The Fordham women have had some week already. Jimmy Fallon welcomed them to the Tonight Show. I think they'll upset Syracuse, but clearly you can see my love for upsets in March Madness. The Iona College men's team takes on North Carolina today. That's one upset that I don't see, but I'll be rooting hard for the Gales, no doubt. 16 seed versus the 1 seed. That game gets underway tonight at 9:20 p.m. You can watch that game on TNT. March Madness continues as the second half of the round of 64 of the NCAA tournament kicks off today on the men's side. First game of the afternoon is Cincinnati against Iowa, which tips at 12:15. We shift gears to the baseball diamond where the season is officially underway. It got going in Japan this week. More on that in a moment. Meanwhile, Rena, we need to start hanging out with Mike Trout. Yes, we do. Show me the money. Trout and the Los Angeles Angels announced their $426.5 million 12-year contract on Wednesday night, a record deal that tops baseball's top player and attaches him to the Orange County club for what will likely be the rest of his career. Trout gets a $20 million signing bonus payable this May 31st and salaries of $16 million this year, $36 million in 2020, and $35.45 million in each of the final 10 years. Yes, that's what I said. He cannot be traded without his consent and gets a hotel suite. That sounds good, Rena. On the road trips, he also receives 4 Diamond Club tickets plus a luxury suite for 20 games this year, and for the remainder of the contract by each of January 2nd, I think it is, he can pick up those Diamond Club tickets for the suite dates for that season. Whatever. His deal tops the previous high set when Bryce Harper and Philadelphia struck a $330 million 13-year agreement earlier in spring training. I'll tell you why the Yankees need to lock up Aaron Judge now in the C list, so stay tuned for that. The Houston Astros have locked up yet another key member of their 2017 World Series team. Third baseman Alex Bregman has reportedly agreed to a 5-year, $100 million extension to remain with the Astros. While teams are rewarding really good players, Gio Gonzalez is eager to reward the New York Yankees. The Yankees announced Wednesday that they had signed the veteran left-hander to a minor league contract, hoping the two-time All-Star can help a hobbled rotation. Gonzalez said the Yankees' offer earlier this week was the lone serious one he had received. If added to the 40-man roster, he would get a $3 million salary bonus while in the major leagues and the chance to earn $9 million in performance bonuses, $300,000 for each start through 30. The 33-year-old Gonzalez is a nice flyer for the Bombers. Look out for balls, folks. Pinstriper guest instructor Lee Mazzilli was hit in the head by a ball during batting practice on Wednesday in Tampa, Florida. That's a lesson you got to learn. And transported to a local hospital, the 63-year-old was working out at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa with players who did not travel to the Yankees game against Houston on Wednesday in West Palm Beach. Apparently, he's doing okay now. Yankees reliever Dellin Betances is not doing okay. He has inflammation in his right shoulder and will start the regular season on the injured list. General manager Brian Cashman said an MRI was done on Betances on Tuesday after the 6'8", 265-pound right-hander continued to lack velocity in his fastball. Betances, who normally reached the upper 90s, has topped at 92 or 93 throughout spring training. Betances said he will not throw for 3 to 5 days, but doesn't think it's a long-term issue. Let's hope not. Retirement is a long-term issue, and it's one that I suppose we will all have to come to grips with at some point. Ichiro has left the game, folks. The 45-year-old Seattle Mariners star announced his retirement Thursday night shortly after waving goodbye at the Tokyo Dome during a 5-4 win over Oakland in 12 innings. Ichiro went 0 for 4 and was pulled from right field in the 8th, saluting his adoring fans in the packed crowd. He drew hugs, some of them tearful, from teammates, and a 3-minute walk that singled to all the end of his great career. Hall of Famer, first ballot. Deloading and a Hall of Fame performance for the Brooklyn Nets. The Kings led the Nets 103-78 through 3 quarters in Sacramento, and what looked like a blowout on top of heartbreak for the Nets. But D'Angelo Russell led the Nets in a massive fourth-quarter rally that saw Brooklyn outscore Sacramento. Check this one, 45-18 in the final stanza to complete a stunning comeback capped by Rondae Hollis-Jefferson's game-winning layup with 0.8 seconds remaining. Russell scored 27 of his game-high and career-high 44 points in the final quarter to go with 12 assists and 4 rebounds in a 123-121 win. The rally from 28 points down was the largest in Nets history. Some performance by D'Angelo Russell. The Nets visit the Lakers in L.A. Brooklyn has lost 3 of its last 4 games. Tip is at 10:30. The Knicks host the Denver Nuggets at the Garden. New York has dropped its past 2 games. Tip is 7:30 tonight at MSG. The Phoenix Suns have reached a deal to sign guard Jimmer Fredette. Sources confirm the 2-year deal has a team option in the second year. The deal was first reported by 98.7 FM Arizona Sports. The 2011 Naismith College Player of the Year at BYU. Fredette played the past 3 seasons in the Chinese Basketball Association. In November, he scored 75 points for the Shanghai Sharks in a loss. The 30-year-old was the 10th overall pick in 2011. The Milwaukee Bucks selected him and, of course, traded him to the Sacramento Kings. The Suns will be the 5th NBA stop for Fredette, who last played for the Knicks during the 15-16 season. Kind of fitting that Jimmer finds a new NBA home during March Madness. Indeed. Former President George W. Bush has made a hole-in-one at a Dallas golf course that will soon host his institute's Warrior Open, honoring wounded U.S. military personnel. A photo posted Wednesday on Bush's Instagram account shows the beaming 43rd U.S. president holding a golf ball on the green of the par 3 12th hole of Trinity Forest Golf Club. That's kind of cool. Former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick and current Carolina Panthers safety Eric Reid settled their collusion grievances against the NFL, but according to a Wall Street Journal report, they will receive less than $10 million. Kaepernick filed a grievance in October 2017 under the collective bargaining agreement, alleging collusion against signing him to an NFL contract. He led the movement of players kneeling during the national anthem to protest racial inequality and police brutality. While with the Niners, Reid was the first player to join Kaepernick in kneeling. TJ Dillashaw relinquished his UFC bantamweight title championship Wednesday after the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency and the New York State Athletic Commission informed him of an adverse analytical finding in a drug test dating back to his most recent fight in January in Brooklyn. TJ is out, but Dana White isn't going anywhere. The UFC president announced Monday that he has agreed to a new 7-year deal to continue running the world's leading mixed martial arts circuit. Anthony Pettis aims to stop a 4-year slide by stepping up this weekend in the octagon. Pettis attained stardom in 2014, winning a world title and even gracing a Wheaties box. But after losing 6 of his past 9 fights, Showtime is just looking to get back on track as he moves to welterweight for Saturday's UFC Fight Night main event. As Pettis, who is 21-8, prepares to move to welterweight for the first time in his career against Stephen Thompson in Nashville, Tennessee. He's still trying to define Pettis 2.0, and he admits that the past 4 years of his career have not been easy. The main card starts at 8 p.m. Saturday night. Top UFC lightweights Al Iaquinta and Donald Cowboy Cerrone have verbally agreed to a fight as the main event of UFC Fight Night Ottawa on May 4th. Multiple sources told ESPN Cerrone has been vocal about fighting former UFC lightweight and featherweight champion Conor McGregor, but the promotion went a different direction. Cowboy is coming off 2 straight wins, most recently a dominant second-round TKO win against rising prospect Alexander Hernandez in January. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for Judgment Day for the Yankees. Well, maybe not Judgment Day just yet. The Yankees have star Aaron Judge under player control. He's still making just peanuts for the Yankees, but at some point he won't be. And if I'm the Yanks, I don't let Judge become a free agent. In fact, I try to work out an extension now that could actually save the Bombers later. Maybe offer something like 8 years, $300 million, then we'll be partying with Aaron Judge, Arena. Judge is probably worth more than that. The 26-year-old has been an everyday player since 2017, yet in that time he's racked up an impressive .993 OPS, 79 homers, and 13.6 wins above replacement, according to Baseball Reference. Judge's claim to fame is being a dangerous slugger, a muscle-bound 6'7", 282-pound beast. He certainly looks the part. He also acts it. Out of all the batters who have put at least 500 balls in play over the last 2 seasons, he leads everyone in exit velocity at an average of 94.7 miles per hour. His home runs tend to be particularly extraordinarily displays of power, as he's topped out at 121 miles per hour in speed and 495 feet in distance. He's a show, folks. And yes, he's only 26, and he's a homegrown Yankee. Judge is also an exceptional right fielder who's racked up 23 defensive runs saved since 2017. It can be justifiably assumed that that won't last forever, but there's little reason to expect that his bat will stop carrying him and the Yanks anytime soon. As Manny Machado and Bryce Harper signed elsewhere, it became clear to me that the Yanks were saving their pennies for Judge and some of the other young stars on the team. Time for Cashman to play. Let's make a deal with the biggest of those young stars. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.